Hi, this is John,
Jacob.
and welcome to the Heimer. Today we have a special guest
Hey.
Hello, I'm Oliver.
All right. What is your YouTube channel? Do you want to plug that real quick?
Sure. My YouTube channel is Oliver Beast. Go check that out.
All right. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Oh, we got a great topic for you today. It's something. It's a special event that's happening.
Oh, like a sale at a store?
Similar to a sale at a store, probably, but maybe a sale that only happens every 17 years.
17 is not a great number. It's a prime number. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of an awkward number.
Is that how you evaluate numbers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
17 years.
17 years. So it's a bit, maybe it's not a good thing then that it's going to happen every 17 years. Every 17 years.
Do you know what we're talking about?
I think I do, yeah, where all the cicadas come out in the ground. I don't know how many there
That's
are, though.
exactly what we're talking about.
It's the cicada attack.
Yes.
Let's go. All right. So wait a minute. How old are you?
I am 14.
That is less than 17.
Which means
That is 3 less than 17.
Yeah, that's 3 less.
that you have not been around for cicadas.
The cicada attack. It's going to be epic.
Attack of the
Yeah.
cicadas.
And you don't remember it because you were up north.
I was up north. They didn't attack up there as much. Maybe weren't as vicious up north. Yeah, I'd say that.
Well,
So
okay.
what can we expect?
All right. Okay. So I was teaching at Bloomington Montessori School at the time, and that was my first 3 years of teaching. I always rode my bike. I never walked and I never drove. I absolutely, through rain and snow, I rode my bike. And I remember having to swerve wildly all the time to avoid the cicadas all over the road. And sometimes you just sliced them in half with your bike tire because there's nothing you could do
Was
about
it
it.
slippery? Was the
No.
road? I mean, are you talking like complete coverage of the road, and or are you talking like how many per foot? We'll say.
Per foot, maybe 0.5.
0.5, okay. So maybe every 2 feet, we'll say, if we're doing some math here.
Yeah.
Every 2 feet.
There'd be like little concentrated. You might have 3 or 4 here, and then 1 there, and then
That's a lot less than I thought there would be. I thought it would be like everywhere, like
I was
literally.
thinking
all
coverage, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
not.
think that's a little exaggerated. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean,
So perhaps attack of the cicadas isn't as...
well, that's a fun way to
It's-
frame it. Yeah, and the last time, if I remember this right, I might be wrong on the university, but I think it was Harvard who wanted to study them so much, put out a reward for a blue-eyed cicada. These cicadas are all supposed to have a red eyes, but they said that about 1 in a million was blue-eyed, and they were paying a large sum of money. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars if anybody could find a blue-eyed cicada for genetic testing. So there's things like that we're going to start hearing about in the coming weeks.
Huh.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I wonder who would go around collecting all those and examining them. Are their eyes easy to see?
Yeah, oh yeah, big, to be descriptive.
So as you're riding to work, you could be checking out cicadas.
Right. Yeah, you can see, right, you can see their eyes pretty, these are big insects, big wingspans, but most of the ones we're going to see are going to be either dead or kind of flopping around. In a way, it's kind of depressing. But
So it's just a mass. Can you explain the event? Like, what is actually happening to these?
not totally, but they're a grub the rest of their life. And at the point that we see them, they've already mated, and the eggs are underground. And when they come up, they're just coming up to die. So, we don't have to feel super bad when we step on them, and we will step on them.
Drive on them. Probably.
Drive on
Smash them with their windshields.
Yeah, they're going to be it's just going to be guts everywhere. Because they die within a couple days. I mean, it happens pretty fast. But those, it's maybe a little less than 17 years, whatever. When they're underground, they're a grub. And if I understand right, they feed on the sap of the roots of trees. And that's what kind of keeps them alive. So when they all come up in a couple weeks, they'll all be detached, obviously, from these roots of the trees. And so the trees basically have a year off. This will be their big year for growth. And so if you look, I know you're a woodworker, John. If you look at the tree rings in a tree, you can actually see cicada years.
The year of the cicada.
Because, or it's kind of like the growth season right after, or I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more than a year or so. But you can see the span where the cicadas weren't leaching off the tree.
Wow, that's insane. Yeah.
So we have all of these large insects everywhere. What kind of effects does that have? Do birds eat them?
Yeah.
Is that a nice transition?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, right. It feels a little bit like everything eats them because the insects tend to be high in protein.
Everything?
Almost. I've even heard of, Homo sapiens eating them.
Really?
Yeah, I have.
Perhaps some chocolate? Dip them in, like...
Oh, God.
Yeah?
The three of us are not particularly big on eating animals.
How
anyway.
much money would somebody have to pay you in order to eat a chocolate-covered cicada?
I don't think I would do it for $10,000.
$10,000.
Really?
I'd
You wouldn't?
maybe 50,000.
Even if you knew
No
it was
way.
dying anyway.
No way. I could not do
You're
that.
saying it's
One
dead, right?
bite. Yeah, one bite.
Uh-uh.
You don't have to eat the whole thing. How
Just part of the wing?
chew on it. No,
I'd be part
bite,
of the
bite it in half.
Why do we have to talk about that? I don't know, John.
I want
What
to know your
about
limit. I want to know your limit.
Well, $5,000. I'd
$5,000?
take a bite out of the guy who's already dead.
Yeah.
No
How about
way.
you? What would you?
5,000. That's pretty
Somewhere in
good. That's
there.
decent. Yeah.
Anyway, the natural world does all sorts of crazy stuff. Most of these species have a huge population boost. I think raccoons and all sorts of critters, but hawks and everything's just sitting around.
Just because the amount of food that's available to
Yeah.
them, and you don't have to scrounge around for it. It's just right there.
Yeah. Like we might see red-tailed hawks just sitting right in the middle of the road, just like a chicken almost, just pecking away, just filling their belly.
Yeah, they're hungry.
Way easier than hunting a tiny mouse across the huge cornfield or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have a bunch of more of these red hawks and predatorial animals. What kind of effects do you think that has on the environment?
What do you think, Oliver?
I'm actually not sure right away. I'd have to think about that for a while.
Well, thinking about like food chains and stuff, if there's more raptors, like what might there be less of?
There's more.
Excuse me.
My brain is not functioning right now. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that's okay. I mean, I don't know either, but my theory would be less rodent. The things that they eat would be go down. So if your hawk population goes up, your mice population would go down, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so thinking about the food chain, when you overweight one side of it, the other goes, well, I guess down in that case. It's kind of not a scale there, but...
Yeah. And I'm not particularly ever worried about the mouse populations. I mean, they do well as a population, so... But,
Yeah, I saw a map online for like where the cicadas were, and it was like, for some reason, the map only showed like pretty much just Indiana. And I don't know if that's true or not, but it was like pretty much nowhere else. There's like some places, but majority was like Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois area. That's kind of weird. I don't know why.
I think we're in the epicenter.
Yeah,
I think
pretty
we're
much.
going to be right in the
I
middle of it.
hear conditions are just perfect right now.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
soil temperature has to be just right. So right now it's a little cool. I think it's like 54, 55 degrees, the soil temperature.
Ooh, okay.
It needs to be low 60s. And so that's why they're predicting late April, or worst case, the first part of May, they might pop out is the timeline. But it depends on the ground temperature at this point. They're ready to come out whenever our ground warms up enough.
Wow.
So they're hibernating, would you say? Or are they
I
just
don't
kind of
know.
scrounging around down there?
I think they're just sucking on that tree sap.
It's like,
That is
Yeah, it sounds like they're vampires, right? They come out.
they come out to die in the sun.
Yeah, they come out to die in the night. It's nice. Yeah. So we also have a 13-year cicada group, which is far less.
a 13-year?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I don't understand all this, so I'm not quite sure why I'm bringing it up. But people are interested in the correlation between the 13 and 17-year cicadas and what years they would come out in the same year.
Ooh.
And basically, like, does that mean they're possibly mating underground? And does that mean you have a subspecies start? So there's people now calculating out the years that 13 is also a prime number. So when do those, years cross?
Do you know when that is?
I did read about it. I don't remember, but it's not that far away. It's like, I feel like it might be like 2112 or something like that. So
Not during our lifetime.
yeah, I think there's a couple different broods in that 13-year, and that's where it gets complicated. So one of those I think might be in our lifetime, but this group, the 17-year, is also the biggest. So we see some cicadas every year, or we see their shells clinging to the bark or something. This is the biggest group that exists on Earth in size, and in numbers. So I'm not sure if they could breed with the other groups or what goes on there.
Yeah.
Why do you think they wouldn't be able to breed with the other groups? Just because of age difference?
Maybe, but also I just kind of wonder about their size difference and stuff, if they're genetically
Oh, when you say
different.
big, you actually mean the physical size of the
I
cicada.
meant to say that, but that too.
Not the amount of cicadas.
Both. In both ways, they're bigger. But I was saying they're like their wingspan. They're pretty big. I don't want to exaggerate, but they're like, they're.
When I've seen a shell, they're only like, I don't know, it's like an inch and a half though.
Yeah,
Maybe they're smaller
They
ones.
shrivel up, or I don't know how. Maybe it's only part of their body. No.
Well, they shed to grow, right?
Yeah, that's right. So they're growing more after that. I don't know.
So will these shed then? Will these that are coming out now, if they're just coming out to die, will they actually shed?
I guess so. That's right. I think that's right. I'm glad you said that. I think they might mostly climb up the trees that they've been basically a
Sucking
parasite
from,
on.
yeah.
And then they, not far, maybe just, like 4 to 8 feet or something up a tree. Then they break out of their casing, and then they fly around for a day or two.
Okay,
and
so
die.
they come out as a grub?
I get some sort of in-between stage.
In-between
Yeah.
thing? Okay, and then climbs the tree, turns into its final form, feels the wind beneath its wings, and then dies.
That'd be a cool thing to get like a photo lapse film, to film one climbing up the tree, speed it up, of course, climbing up the tree and then hatching out and then flying off would be neat to see.
And then landing on a sidewalk, and then Jacob comes along and just smashes it with his bike.
No.
That's a good time lapse.
I bet. Don't you think house cats are just gonna sit around? Just what is a house
God.
cat
on
thing?
those?
Oh no.
Right, because they're pure, carnivores. Cats are.
Might not be sleeping with Buster for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. In a couple weeks, he'll have like a big gut. I wonder what your cat will think too. Who's mostly indoors, but
Oh, she's got an outdoor personality though.
yeah,
She's a hunter.
yeah.
I think she'll definitely. I think she would want to get out there and bat at them at least. Maybe take a couple swings.
Yeah. I wonder if there'll be interesting social stuff happening in a couple weeks when these are out. Like, I could see young people. I'm not being critical of you or your generation, but possibly maybe an older person too. But people like calling in for work, saying that'd be interesting, right? Somebody needs to record all that, like. I can't get to work because there's cicadas all over my car and stuff like that,
That kind of makes sense, though. You're just gonna run over them.
But on the other hand, the world can't really stop for 3 to 5 days. Or do you think we should just cancel school for that
Well, you
week?
could plow through them, though, right?
Oh yeah, they won't stop a car.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or
It's not gonna be hail damage.
I cannot bear those sounds and just stuff coming up. I would just start cringing and
All
gagging
the
so hard.
splatters on the.
yeah, you guys should start wearing glasses.
Start wearing blindfolds and earplugs. Actually,
Earplugs.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
What if we have some sort of scent on us that they're just super attracted to? How do I
Interesting.
bottle that and give it to somebody as a prank?
Yeah. Cicada, new from Calvin Klein.
Prank your friend with this.
How about trying to keep a cicada? How about you see one that's recently hatched out and you get it and you put it in like an aquarium, a terrarium.
Terrarium, yeah.
And try to protect it and see how long it can actually live if nothing's.
Yeah, maybe you could find a root of a tree and kind of put it in there. Well, you can
not
let it
that-
suck on the sap, right?
I don't know. I don't think it can after. Actually, I doubt they even eat after they hatch out of their skin. I think they just die from starvation. Maybe.
Okay, so we gotta dig somewhere and find the grub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do this, John.
I was hoping where I was going with this is I wanted to create some sort of hamster cage water bottle, but with a root, a sap.
Ooh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Maybe they would live quite a while and they'd be. What I think I was reading this morning was that they, like evolutionarily wise, they know like that there's millions of them all over the ground everywhere. And so their chances of any individual getting eaten by a predator is extremely low. And so over millions of years or however long they've been coming out, that they don't put any effort into their own like protection. So even if they could see a cat coming up to it or starting to bat at it, it has no skills, no interest in even staying alive.
Just because the species as a whole has so much just reproductive ability that it doesn't
Yeah,
want to.
I don't know.
That's an interesting thought to end things on.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, Ollie?
I don't think so.
Can't wait to eat one.
Yeah.
Get $5,000.
Oh man.
Oh, you're offering him $5,000? I think I hear. No handshake. No.
Still no? Oh.
Really?
No.
That's funny. So for sure, if you were offered, if there's $5,000 cash on this table, you'd take a bite out of half of one.
Yes, I would. I'd take a bite out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You'd have to probably offer me another $5,000 to eat it. No, probably a little bit more.
How about just a smoothie?
Pop it in a smoothie with some like strawberries.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm just playing around
Anyway,
with you guys.
yeah.
Just anyway. Thanks for watching our special edition.
Special, yes.